Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jess. This is Mix It Up Mondays, and thank you, Flynn Solo Presents, for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. I am a tabletop board gaming Twitch streamer. I stream on Mondays and Wednesdays, and today, friends, I'm going to be talking about an upcoming game called Nevermind the Distraction. And I have invited the game designer AJ on the stream with me to chat about it and see possibly might be something to keep an eye out later on this year to add to your gaming collection. So, welcome in, AJ. How are you today?
Thanks, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing okay. Yeah, let's say hi to everyone that I see in the chat. I saw James was here, Phantom Meeple's here, Flynn. It's because I miss you. Aw, thank you, Flynn. I've been following him on Instagram too, AJ. He is a big Marvel fan. So anytime like a new movie or a new show comes out, he's always like in the know. So I feel like he is one to like poke at where it's just like, how is this connected to the MCU and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, hello to El Inferno, hello to Geek Girl Gamer, hello Gus, hello to anyone else that came over on the raid and anyone else that was lurking while working. Yeah, so today, friends, I'm going to be chatting with AJ about his upcoming game called Nevermind the Distraction. This is a solo game that focuses around the art of meditation, okay? And you're thinking, like, well, how could that be in a board game? Well, we're here to show you and find out. AJ gave me a prototype copy when we met at Dice Tower West. He had a nice little table out. It was showing demos and everything. So this is going to be something that you will see as prototype pieces and stuff. It might not be the final art and everything, all the components that come with it, but I will go through a step-by-step on how to play it, the kind of the ideas behind it, and just chatting with you all. And if you are interested, how you can play it, because there are digital implementations that you can play right now. So yeah, so hang out with us and stick around. But if you have to go do some other things, I know it's pretty late for you all in the UK. If you have to sign off, I totally understand. But thank you all for stopping in. Yeah, so Flynn's gotta have to lurk. Off to a gaming evening. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Good luck to you and El Inferno over there. So yeah, so anyways, let's get down to it. AJ, why don't you kind of talk about, first and foremost, what did you think about getting into game design, and what was kind of like the origin story behind you wanting to design a game?
Wow. I'm an architectural designer for that's what I do for a living. So design is kind of in my blood, and I love on the side just designing all kinds of stuff. I'm like a maker basically, and so I'm always looking for kind of weird little challenges that I can put my design mind to use to solve. And so, like I said, design's kind of in my blood, and the my focus in my architecture career has been healthcare. So, and specifically the mental health community. I've done a lot of psychiatric hospitals and outpatient centers and things like that. So I see a lot of people who are, maybe not necessarily in the best way. And part of the impetus behind this design was trying to get something out there that would help those people so that, they could maybe get a handle on their mental health issues before it got so bad that they were checked into a psychiatric hospital.
Mm.
Um, but in terms of the sort of origin story of the game, um, basically I started meditating about 7 years ago now, using the Headspace app, which probably everybody's heard of. If you haven't and you're interested in meditation at all, I really, really recommend it. It's a fantastic app. And it's basically what inspired this game is my experience with Headspace. So I've been meditating for a while now, and after about a year or so of meditation, I had friends and family kind of coming to me saying, "Wow, you're like really different. It's like you took a big giant existential chill pill. Like how, what, what did you do? You know?" And I start telling them I picked up meditation, and it's weird the reactions you get when you start talking about meditations with people. Um, it's usually one of two things. The first is that meditation kind of the origin is sort of in Buddhism and Eastern religion. And so sometimes it's really common for people to get a little kind of not defensive, but they kind of put their walls up a little bit
Mm,
because they, they're worried you're going to start preaching at them, you know, when you start talking about meditation. So I run into that. And the other thing is just that there's a lot of misconception about how meditation works.
mm,
And sometimes people are interested, but they go, well, you know, I've tried it and I can't get my mind to quiet down. So it's clearly not for me. And that's a lot like saying, I've got an eating problem, but I can't stop eating. So a diet's not for me, you
mm.
know? So it's like, okay, there's almost a weird sort of messaging challenge with meditation that
Yeah.
Headspace has done a really good job in addressing being a completely secular app. But I was kind of interested in, okay, how can I pull this out of your head and put it on the table?
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big board gamer. My meditation probably saved my life, but board games did a lot of that too. I, I I picked up board games probably around the same time, and my son was in his early teens, and he and I just started board gaming a lot, and it's our relationship um, has gotten so much better because of both of those things. And so some of it was my um, want to kind of create a link between the things that I love, you know, meditation and board games. And some of it was that design challenge of, you know, I wonder if you could take something that really only occurs in your head and mechanically pull it out of your head and put it on the table.
Mm,
And maybe that would make it easier for people to understand.
yeah.
You know, it's so hard to give somebody instructions on how to meditate and then ask them to close their eyes and do it. And
Right.
maybe, you know, there's a way to accomplish the same thing with physical components.
Yeah. Yeah. And to add to that, let's see, James is saying taking time for self reflection or just not reflecting at all seems very smart. Thank you for talking about mental health. It is so important. And I agree. And I think this game is going to be very interesting for folks that one are in the gaming realm, but two also can find the kind of the bridge between that like mental health space and board gaming. And it's so cool to hear your story about you and your son having like that connection with board games, because I feel like that's the way I found board gaming to be, in terms of like having it be a connective activity, you know, like being around a table with people from all different walks of life, but being able to kind of sit down and play together at a board game, I think is really, really valuable. And when you were describing like the mental health kind of thing, it made me think of a term called play therapy, which is usually
Mm-hmm.
something that's done around with kiddos and having to deal with like trauma and things like that. I have quite a few friends that are in the counseling background, and some of them dealt with like family counseling with like grief and separation and things of that nature. And they have found that like play therapy will like kiddos actually using items like physical items in their space to explain what they're feeling and how they can process things. Um, it's really, really valuable. It actually helped them instead of just talking to them face to face. Like, so I can feel
Mm-hmm.
that kind of parallel when it comes to meditation, because yes, when I think of meditation, when you first described it to me, I was just like, oh my gosh, well, I'm not in that like I don't have like a Buddhist background, and I don't know like is it only for like people that exercise that faith and things of that nature. And so understanding it a little bit better would be kind of a cool thing to recognize, but then knowing that like all of us can meditate in different ways and how that could be something that I feel like we could all relate to. So I think this game is going to be one of those factors that kind of helps bridge that gap so people can kind of see being able to process the mind, like their thoughts in their mind, and be able to do it in a way that might be more helpful than kind of like one-on-one communication with people. So, and oh my gosh, we have some raids. Sorry, there's a lot going on in the chat, friends. I did see Panda. Thank you for the work lurk. And hello, L Fire Spray, and everyone that came over on the raid train. Elle is a wonderful artist, AJ. She paints miniatures for board games.
Oh, cool.
And so I am actually going to be joining her and Book of Nerds on his channel on Thursday. We're going to be doing some kind of art stream. So I'm going to attempt to draw a miniature. I'm not a professional like she is, but it's going to be fun either way. So yeah, welcome in, Raiders. I am joined by AJ, who is the designer of the upcoming game Nevermind the Distraction. It is a solo board game all about the artwork of meditation. So right now, we're just chatting a little bit about the background and the history behind the game. And then I actually do have a prototype copy that I will be showing you all the components and actually walking through a gameplay itself. So stick around if you want to, but if you have to go off and do a work lurk, that is totally, totally fine. But welcome in, friends. I hope you have a good Monday wherever you are. So yeah, AJ, it's one of those things that I know you were saying you did more of the architecture behind like mental health, like buildings and facilities. Did you actually interact with people to kind of get some like intel, so to speak, on this game design? Because there's a lot in this tiny little box, I have to say. So yeah, did you actually have some input from outside like sources or people or things to kind of bring the game design to life?
Not as much as I would have liked, because
Okay.
I started designing it June of 2020. So this was kind of like a pandemic project,
Mm.
and there wasn't a lot of opportunity to sit down with people face to face. And especially in a healthcare setting, they really don't want you to do that now.
Yeah.
So, so no, I wish that I could have done more of that. But now that things are getting a little bit better out there, there's been a lot more of that. Um, you mentioned the play therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
that's an angle that has been on my mind since day one of
Okay.
kind of tweaking the way the game is played just a tiny bit so that it could be used by clinical therapists to help, um, bring out those things. I've talked to a fair number of those therapy type people, and I'm trying to kind of work both angles at the same time, the board game angle and the mental health, using it for therapy kind of angle.
Oh, that's really neat. So okay, so then that's probably going on to my next question then. When we chatted offline before the stream, you were kind of saying like this is a game that you might not normally see like at a local game store, but you might see at like yoga studios or like a Barnes and Noble or like a craft store or things like that. So talk to me about your intention, like who you see yourself getting this game into their hands. Like, because I know sometimes when we talk to game designers, it's like, this is a roll and write game or this is a heavy Euro game. So it kind of gives that connotation of like, this is the type of gamer this is for. But I feel like with this game, AJ, it's a little bit different. So who was your kind of like targeted audience that you wanted to see get their hands on?
Yeah, so that's been really interesting because, to me, there's a couple of different angles for it. One is providing that sort of low barrier to entry gateway introduction to meditation, but
Yeah.
I also really like playing solitaire board games, and like you had mentioned before, most people see board games as a social activity and are kind of turned off by the solitaire aspect.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of this that was also meant to be an introduction to solitaire gaming as well. Um, and so it's a weird kind of double gateway sort of thing where um, the target market is kind of like people who are interested in meditation or interested in mindfulness, don't know much about it, feel a little put off by the maybe spiritual aspect of it, and don't necessarily want to join a meetup or something like that. They just want to do something alone, um, and get introduced to that. So but I wanted to make sure it was not a game for gamers. It's
Mm.
a game for it. It's an introduction to board gaming as well, because I love board games, and
Yeah.
the more people that can get into that and get off of their screens and get more into physical components, I think it's just helpful, in terms of mental health as well. Helpful to get people away from the screens.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of tough to this is my first game I've ever designed. I don't know that I'll do another. I'm not an aspiring game designer. It's just a
Yeah.
passion project. And so to
Yeah.
have your first design be targeting gateway people, it's kind of a high ask, but
Right.
like I said, some of it has been, just the challenge of, can I do it? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so the reason I mentioned that before about maybe not being in a game store is partially because the solitaire aspect. You don't see a
Yeah.
lot of those in game stores, and partially because of what you mentioned. It doesn't fit really into a gaming category.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say it's a euro. You can't say it's a dice roller. You can't. And the reason behind that is because it's mechanically designed from scratch to be kind of not quite a simulation, but almost a simulation of meditating.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like the game mechanics were there and you could go, oh, okay, well, the theme is meditation and I'm going to plaster this theme all over it. It's
Right.
mechanically meant to both sort of walk you through the steps of meditating. So there's two angles to it. This project has so many different levels that are, coming at it from a couple of different places. And one is okay, how do I learn how to meditate using a board game?
Yeah.
But the other is, once you get to the point where you're playing the game, you sort of enter this almost flow state where it has the same sorts of feelings as a meditation, where your mind kind of
Mm.
shuts off a little bit, and you're just going through the motions and flipping cards, and you get kind of like this Zen, um, like I said, kind of flow state out of it. And so
Yeah.
it's meant to be that sort of um, mechanical and psychological sort of meditation.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's
Cool. No, that answers my question. I also want to share what Gus was saying. He says, with the little time he's had in this hobby, I feel like what's showing up in local game stores is becoming more diverse. I could see this being enjoyed by gamers and non-gamers alike, and I would agree. I would agree with that. Because one, I enjoy it, and I'm not a solo gamer. I enjoy playing games with other people. But when I was at Dice Tower West, the fun story behind this and like how AJ and I met was I was wandering through the gaming hall. So like in Dice Tower West, there's like a giant area of just like play tables and things. And then there was also like a playtester demo section where designers had their prototypes out and things that you can, try before you buy kind of things. And I was walking around just looking for a group of people that I was waiting for, and a friend of mine from the area like found me, and he's like, "Hey, I need to show you this game." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "It's a solo kind of like puzzle game, like, but it's all about like meditation and things like that." And I was like, what? And he's like, no, I know it sounds weird, but he's like, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, okay. And he's played games with me. Like, he knows I'm a very social person, and like the interactivity across the table is kind of like my jam. And so when he was like, no, 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 like come over here and like sit down, and you had this beautiful display out of your gaming table and your gaming space, and you had like, I think you had like little like bonsai trees, and like very, it was very aesthetically pleasing, like when I came and like sat down, and everybody had their own, basically like their tray of like, here's your game, and you have all your pieces, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna set this up. And you were very nice in like, okay, how much do you know about meditation and how much do you not, because that'll kind of help me like describe the game to you in a little bit better way. And that was super helpful. And then I went through and I played it, and I was like, whoa, like it was just like, I could not imagine doing a solo game through in such that short amount of time, but like actually enjoying it and going, I wanted more. And so so yeah, so when we talk about like the solo gaming, and I know that is like you were saying, it's also kind of a turn off. Like for me, friends, when I played this, I never thought I would enjoy a solo gaming experience. But I truly, truly did like this one. So with that being said, I'm gonna go down to the table, and I'm gonna do like a full unboxing. AJ's gonna walk me through the setup so you all can kind of see. And then if you all are interested in learning more about this game, I have the link to the website there, so people can go and visit and click on the link when it will be coming to hopefully Kickstarter or some crowdfunding site. I think that was your intention, AJ, to do for this game. But let's get down to the table first so we all can see what's going on here. So, okay, friends, this is a card box game. I would probably have it equivalent size to, I don't know, if you put like 3 Oink games together, that would probably be the height of this. So it's a very small box. Very small box. It's a little springy right now because you get a play mat on the inside. Okay? The prototype that I got from AJ came with a play mat. Like, holy smokes. So I tried to fold it back to like do the actual reveal of it, but I can't. It's like folding a fitted sheet. I could not fold it back the way it was meant to be. So I apologize, AJ, if it was just kind of like that unboxing. You're kind of like, well, it actually looks nicer when you get a prototype. So, okay. So here, friends, like AJ said, it is a card game. It is a card-driven game. We have a grid, a 3x3 grid. And then on the outside, we're going to be placing these tokens here. The object of the game is you are the watcher, and you are competing against the AI, which is considered the mind, or your mind in a way. So you are trying to navigate your thoughts to be less of a distraction and more of clearing your mind so that you can focus on your breath. Because a lot about meditation is focusing on your breath, okay? So you're going to have a stack of cards here on the left side that indicates your timer, because it's a race against the clock. It's a tug of war, if you will, between yourself and the AI, okay? Then over here is going to be the AI's deck, where they are going to activate certain parts of the grid or certain spaces in your mind with distractive thoughts and things that could draw your attention away from your breath and clearing of your mind space, okay? Now, in this game here, there's also different card decks that you're going to be playing through. This one that I got from AJ is called the Abstract series. Now, AJ, you have multiple series for this game. What are the other card decks that people could possibly get?
Yeah, so right now there's 2 different series. One is the abstract that you have, and the packs of cards are, like it says, all abstract. And the idea is that you're getting distracted by these thoughts, but they're not trying to make you think anything specific. Your brain is going to make an association based on that art, based on your own history and your own likes and dislikes. So that the intention behind the abstract is that it's that more that kind of personal, I guess, experience. The other one I have is called the Life series, and I've got the box here. It's a similar box. I mean, you can kind of see the size of it, um, and it's more like photography. So
Okay.
you have packs that are the themed packs are like people, places, things, pets, food, stuff like that, versus the abstract of this types of pattern or this types of painting, and so I guess it just depends on how your mind works and how you associate with different types of imagery as to whether or not you would go with one or over the other. But the intention down the road is that I keep creating new themed packs, and my long term idea for it would be that it's almost like a living card game where you could go to the
Mm.
store and grab the packs that have the imagery that really speak to you and your interests and your likes and dislikes, and that way when you play the game, it's a more personalized experience.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was telling AJ when he asked me about it if I wanted the life series or the abstract series. I was like, I love abstract art. And so in this game, it comes with all these different themes. So we've got fractal art, Mother Nature, the view below, a closer look, textures, architecture, modern art, and pattern art. So AJ, walk me through a basic setup. And I mean, I have played this before, friends, but I think it would be really great for AJ to kind of see how to play it and have him walk you through the basic setup.
Sure. So the first thing you're going to do is pull three of the packs. Each one of those themed little mini decks is 10 cards, and they're all together based on theme. So you're going to pick three for your meditation for the day,
Okay.
and they can be any three, but you're going to grab all 10 cards from that divider for three different ones.
All right. So I'll just do the three here in the back. So I've got fractal art, I've got Mother Nature, and I have the view below.
Okay. So you can split those up and set the dividers aside so
Okay.
that each pack is kind of in its own stack.
All right. So we've got this here.
And you can put them face down too.
Okay.
The
And
idea behind the game is that you're being distracted by these thoughts. So setup is almost entirely face down. And that way, when the thoughts come up the first time in the game, you really don't know what you're going to see.
okay, and what is cool too, friends? All right, so we have these dividers, but in the game, you're actually going to be shuffling these cards, right, AJ, to make your like your thoughts deck. I guess what it would be called.
Yeah, in a specific way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but it's really cool is that there's a little guide here. So when you do put it back, you will know like, okay, these 9 images go with fractal art. These 9 images go with the view below. So I thought that was very clever. Okay, continue.
No, that's okay. And there's also, if you follow the setup and the way you play it, it's designed to keep the cards together so that you don't have to sit there and play 52 card pickup and match up all the cards with the index if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Um, so each one of those themed packs is 10 cards, and there's a title card, which is it just has that's a title card. On the flip side of the title card, it has that same art index there. Yeah, and so that'll be part of that deck. And then the next card is called a center card, which just has the word breathe printed on the back. Yeah, there you go. So just put that. Yeah, that works. So the way you want to start setup is with the kind of the title on top, breathe underneath it, and then all of the distraction cards are underneath that. So that's your deck that you're
Okay.
starting with, and three of them. So, and I'll walk you through the setup so that you can do that whole like not necessarily having to look back at the index afterwards.
All right, and then we've got the fractal art here, and then the breathe card. All right, cool.
So just take the title card and set it below the deck for each of the three.
Okay.
And then grab the 3 breathe cards and mix them together and set them aside.
All right, gonna do. Oh wait, I have to shuffle on camera because sometimes AJ people think I rig games like dice rolls and stuff like that, so I have to like show everybody. No, I'm doing this correctly, friends. Okay, so we'll set this aside.
And one of the interesting things about designing this is it's very intentional that that word breathe on the back of that center card is literally the only thing that's written anywhere in the game as you're playing it. So it's super abstract.
Yeah,
and
see,
it's
James.
Intentional that
James says I'm super sus right now. Yeah, you got it, James. Okay, go ahead,
so
AJ.
now what you're going to do is pick any combination of 8 cards from those 3 remaining decks.
Okay.
So you could do like 3 from one, 3 from one, and 2 from another.
Okay.
Or, you could grab all 8 of one and leave the rest. It could be any combination. And then
Right.
you'll shuffle that deck.
Okay.
And that's going to end up being your consciousness. These are the thoughts that are going to pop up at you while you're meditating.
All right. James asked a question to you, AJ. Have you ever played the game A Gentle Rain?
I have, and it's asked every single time I show this game. Yeah, I have. It's not quite the same, but it does have a lot of that same sort of Zen-like, it's mechanically very different because you're not doing, tile matching, but
yeah.
It does have that sort of Zen flow to it.
Yeah, he says both games have a guidance to relax, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got my 8 cards.
Okay, yeah, you could just set those aside for now too.
Okay.
And then grab the remaining decks and set each one on top of its title card.
Okay.
And now stack those together, and that's your timer. And so the idea here is that you could pick the same 3 distraction packs and play the game. And because you're only using 8 out of those 30 cards for your grid, you could end up with different imagery each time.
Got it. Got it.
So now grab the stack of breathe cards and put them in the middle. And
Okay.
then just distribute the other 8 around the grid randomly.
And it's so nice, friends, that there's actual, like, the playmat actually has, like, little outlines to, like, where the cards are supposed to go. So, yeah.
And just to clarify, you're going to be playing stage 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. I should probably mention that the game has not really a campaign mode, but kind of. As you grow in your meditation, you add different rules to the game to make it a little bit crunchier. So there is a progression where, if you get bored at a certain level, you can ramp things up, and the game does get a little bit harder. So
very cool. All right, now I have these bags of tokens, AJ. What do I do with these?
So just pour them out. You're going to put the awareness markers, which are the glass beads, in one pile.
These are beads similar if you've ever played Mancala. I have a Mancala set, AJ, that has beads just like this, but they're in like multicolored. So
yeah,
very, very cool.
So then the other tokens you basically draw randomly, and you could do it however you want. You can make a stack of them, or you could throw them in the bag. But before you do that, what I would do is separate them out.
Okay.
There's 2 different types of tokens and 8 of each one. Yeah, the one type of token has the arrows on it like that.
Okay.
and just pull 4 of those and set the other 4 aside. Those would come in at those later stages of the game that I was talking about later.
Okay, so these get set aside.
Or you set the other 4 of the arrow ones aside. You're only going to
Okay,
be using half of the tokens. And
I
then
see. Okay.
the other type of token has a heart on one side and a little thought bubble on the other side. And you're going to want 4 of those.
Okay.
So those will be your tokens for the game. And what those are, they're called noting tokens. And in meditation, noting is like when you realize that you've been distracted by a thought, sometimes you kind of classify it in your head. You just say, oh, that was a feeling, or oh, that was a memory. And so what'll happen is those tokens get assigned to a thought when you have it, and it kind of narratively describes what type of thought it is, whether it's a memory or a plan or a feeling or that kind of thing.
Okay, so
So,
these get randomized?
yep, you could either randomly stack them and draw from a stack, or you could just throw them back in the bag and draw them from the bag, just as long as the other 8 are set aside and you're not pulling from the entire
Correct.
pile of 16.
All right, this is okay. This is a nice like burlap bag, by the way. So like the intentionality of this prototype, AJ, I could definitely see was very well done. Was very well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gus also adds, your design choices all seem to fit really well with a meditative look and feel. White backgrounds being calming and breathe, and then the pictures being the beautifully distracting. Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Yeah, and the sort of the entire point of the game really, we talked about that kind of when people, you talk about meditation with people and they get a little put off.
Yeah.
And some of that has to do with this misconception about how it works. And this will play into the gameplay.
Okay.
So meditation is really a 2-step process.
Yeah.
And most people only understand the first step, and they don't ever go on to step 2. And it's kind of like, I guess, like jumping out of an airplane, right? There's a 2-step process. One is that you jump, and the second is that you pull the ripcord.
Right.
You kind of need to do both.
Yeah, exactly right.
And meditation is the same way. Step 1 is try to focus on your breath. And the operative word there is try. You're going to fail, and that's part of step 2. Step 2 is once you realize that your mind has been distracted by something, you let it go and you come back to the breath.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't think of that as part of meditation. They just go, oh, I was distracted, so I'm doing it wrong. This is not for me. So
yeah,
mechanically, what we're trying to do here is create that moment of, oh, I've been distracted. I need to let that go and bring my attention back to the breath.
Yeah. And speaking of being distracted, we have a nice little distraction from your son, AJ, that says, I'm jealous of you, Jess. I'm AJ's son, and I don't even have a full box of this game.
You know what? In my defense, I offered him a full box, and he said, no, just give me the little one, which I have right here. This is like the Dice Tower West promo that I made.
Okay.
He's in a dorm up at UNR, and he said, I don't really have room for the big box, so just give me the small one.
That's funny. Well, welcome in. Thanks for being here. I appreciate that, and that I thought that was cute. He was just like, I don't even have this game. So now AJ, it's time for us to set up the mind deck, right?
Yep. Yeah, and you'll just shuffle those and set them face down on the other side of the playmat there.
Okay, and I'll point out too that one of the 8 cards is going to be shaded, and then one of the points on the outside for your tokens are going to be shaded. But this is for a higher stage, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ignore that.
Okay, so I'm gonna do these face down, and what I remember, AJ, you were saying that to rotate the cards too.
Yep.
While you're shuffling them, because it depends on the orientation of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, James. Yeah, I do have my my little stream set up. So one of my followers in chat, AJ, he did some graphic design and he actually designed me some gremlins and some mogwai emotes. So
Nice.
I have my little mogwai with my glasses to say everything's good to go because mogwais are friendly. Gremlins not so much. So thanks, James, for that confirmation. I was just checking it. All right. So now, AJ, with this stack goes over here.
Right.
Okay.
So then the last step of setup, you're going to reveal your starting thoughts. So
Okay.
you'll take any two cards and flip the card over and then
Ooh.
grab a token out of the bag.
Okay. So let's do
I'll walk you through it. Okay.
here and here.
Okay.
And then we'll grab a token out of the bag. Yes, Quaid was my designer for these emotes there. Okay, so first token,
So which one is that?
a
I have
thought
a
bubble.
hard time seeing that. Yeah, that's a thought bubble. So that's just a general thought.
Okay.
So you could place that next to one of them.
Okay.
And then you're going to grab an awareness marker, which is the little glass bead, and set it on top of the token.
So this essentially is saying that you have these two active thoughts in your mind when you're starting your meditation.
Right.
Okay. All right, then the second one is another thought bubble.
So if you want, you could flip it over and make it a feeling.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways to play the game. If you want it to be just more random, you could just draw one and place it. If you want it to be a little bit more personal, you could pick the one that matches what that imagery means to you.
Okay.
And so when you're playing it, maybe you have a little bit more personal connection to it.
Mm-hmm. So
and
then I would also place a bead.
Yep.
Gus is saying those swirls definitely look like my thoughts. Well, these are more, if you look up, okay, so this is kind of like closely, and I will say it's really cool, AJ. Also on the back, you give credit where credit is due, which I appreciated. So some of these are from NASA, some of these are from USGS, and things like that. So I definitely appreciated that because it helps, like, where can I find this? Because I mean, some of these geological ones are just cool, like I can't tell you. Okay, so I'm a little sidetracked note. I'm a nerd, and when we were getting that solar eclipse happening, I was on NASA's website like almost every day leading up to the eclipse, and like watching all the video footage as well as going outside during the actual eclipse that happened. And like, it's just so you kind of take for granted like the beauty behind things like in space, so yeah.
Yeah,
really cool.
I cried when Perseverance landed on Mars. That was such a cool moment. It was like awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gus and Jess is distracted. Okay, back to the game. Back to the game. All right, so now we are ready to begin.
Yep. So there's probably a little bit of kind of instruction that needs to happen first.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of working through the best way to describe this because it's mechanically based on meditating. And it's all abstract. It's a little bit hard. You probably noticed this at Dice Tower. There's a little bit of that learning curve.
Yes.
The first time. And it's because of the stages that the cards are in. And you have to kind of learn these stages.
Oh. What did I do? Oopsie. Back to this.
You flipped the table.
I did. There we go. Okay.
So the cards that have the awareness markers next to them and the art face up, those are thoughts. Those are just general thoughts.
Okay.
And there's each thought around the grid has different stages that they go through that have different levels of intensity, just like your thoughts normally do. The ones that don't have any tokens next to them and are face down, those are subliminal. So they haven't been thoughts yet. Once a thought comes up, it's like the other two that you have. Once they become distracting, the marker will go onto the center of the card. And that indicates that it's a distraction, not just a thought.
Yeah, and
Um,
I will show this grid here in the rule
yep.
book there. So right now, so currently they are subliminal.
Yeah, the other six of them are, and then the two are the thought, which is second from the right. Yeah,
Yeah, here.
exactly. Yeah,
So
and
our
so
goal is to try to get all of our basically our subliminal I like thoughts into its released state.
mhm,
Yeah, and I like
yep,
this progression of the arrows where the AI as your mind is looking towards becoming more distracted, whereas you as the watcher are trying to push them more towards a clearer mind state.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah. And so what you're ending up with is an eight-way tug of war
yeah,
slash whack-a-mole at the same time. So,
yeah,
you know, the one sentence elevator pitch short version mechanically is it's whack-a-mole and tug of war.
yeah. There you go. So
Which, if for anybody that's meditated, that's totally how it works.
yeah, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. So, and also to point out too, when we are basically how the game is going to progress is you as the watcher take one action and then the AI as your mind will do an action itself. So, one of my actions will be doing something here on the grid and then as the AI gets flipped over, it will activate one of the eight spaces and then there'll be kind of like a reactionary thing that goes upon it based upon the status of that current area of your grid.
Yep,
So, and I also correct me too, AJ. On since these two thoughts currently are active, those are the ones that I can work with
correct.
currently. Okay. But then on a future turn, if something gets activated or response to by the mind, you can't counteract what that mind just did on that
Right.
space. Okay.
Right. So the normal turn order is that the mind goes first, and then the watcher goes second.
Okay.
And you cannot act on the same card that the mind did. But
Okay.
for the first round of the game, like most games, the opponent doesn't get its turn. So this is the only round where you would skip the mind turn
Okay, so
and
I'm
go
not
straight
drawing
to
a
the watch.
card. So right now,
Correct.
as the watcher, I will take my turn. So what I need to do, friends, so the actions that I can do is I could flip over one of these thoughts, and it is called the acknowledgement state.
Mm-hmm.
So flipping it over to its backside, which is clearing my mind of the thought. Then what I will be doing, then when it happens, since there's a token here, I could, or the bead here, I could move the bead onto my breath to center my mind on that breath. Then from that, I could take this bead from the breathing action back onto that thought. So it's kind of in order to clear my mind of this thought, I need to acknowledge the thought, center it on my breath, and then release that thought by placing the bead on here. So it's a 3-step kind of like process. Okay.
Yep.
So I will go ahead and do my first turn, which I feel like needs to be just here. So I'm acknowledging my thought. And that's all I can do. So there's only like a one action per turn kind of thing, but it goes pretty quick once you kind of understand the
Mm-hmm.
movement. So now the mind is going to go. And I will also say too, friends, AJ has pointed this out to make sure you flip it just directly from the stack. So just flip it just face up that way and not like rotate it or everything like while you're playing. So now it is showing that this upper left hand corner is being activated by the mind, but which is unfortunate because there's already a thought there. So now the thought becomes a distraction. So walk me through, AJ, what that means when your thought becomes a distraction.
So you're just going to move the awareness marker from the token onto the center of the card,
Okay.
and now it's a distraction. the way the game works toward the end phase is you would add up all of the cards that are distractions
Mm-hmm.
and subtract the number of cards that you've got released, which is face down with the marker on it. And that's how
Okay.
you determine the winner. If you've got more distractions than thoughts that you've released, then
Mm-hmm.
the mind would win.
Okay.
And then there's also a little bit of a beat your high score because you're subtracting one from the other. So you could do
Right.
better based on that math.
Right.
And then there's also the sort of ultimate win, which is if all 8 cards are released, you get like the Zen Master win.
Oh, cool. Okay, and because my thought has become a distraction, I lose time. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
So
by
you'll
losing
discard
time,
one.
I'll just discard one card. So now we're remembering that it's the stack from the 3 different stacks that we are collecting, and making sure this is the remaining card deck that we have here. Okay, so that was the AI's turn. That's problematic. However, though, I have learned that if this area comes up again, AJ, I don't do anything to this card per se, but I do lose time.
Correct.
Okay.
For stage 1, yes. At the
Yeah.
later stages, more bad stuff happens.
Okay.
If you leave your distractions out too long, it's sort of
Yeah.
those consequences.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do then next, since I know right now, yes, it's a bummer that this is distracted, instead of being instantly reactionary and moving it off the token, I'm going to take this bead actually and focus on my breath. Because I know now that on a future turn, if this card doesn't get flipped over, I can move this from my central breath back to that token.
Or if any of the other subliminal cards get flipped over, it's going to steal the focus from your breath rather than pulling the
Right.
awareness from the pool.
Right. So if a new card gets revealed,
Mm-hmm.
instead of taking from here, it would take here. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Correct.
that's a possibility, but we'll just go with it
Yeah,
because now.
that's
So
all you
that was
can
my
do.
yeah, that was my turn. So I will flip again. Okay, so now it is this card gets a new thought. Then I get a new token
Mm-hmm.
from here, and it is one of these. Is like a sensing kind of.
I can't see which one it is. Is that the arrow?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So that's the memory.
Okay.
So the 2 arrows are remembering and anticipating.
Okay.
And so the more hard-edged one is anticipating, and the sort of fancy one is remembering.
Okay. So we'll do that here. Then, unfortunately, this bead goes from the center and goes onto this breath.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, now here's a question, AJ. If I wanted to focus my breath again, I could not pull from this same thought.
Right, because it stole your awareness. So now
It's
that's back to being a subliminal thought. It's just a subliminal thought that you've had once before.
okay. So I could not activate anything on this card either because that just got revealed.
Correct. Yeah. So your only action would be to take the notice action on that distraction in the upper
Yeah.
left.
Yep. So then we go over here, and that would be my only turn. Now, how this would be okay. So first, before I do that, how would one get a bead to go back over here so that they could center their breath to release this thought?
The next time the mind focuses on it, it'll pull from the pool or from the breath, just like it would on any other
Okay.
Subliminal thought. Yeah.
Okay. So
This is a kind of a rare opening because it's not very common that the very first card focuses on, one of the 2 starting thoughts. So,
right. But it happens. That's
yeah,
the way the game
it just
works.
changes it. Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so I did this here and moved the bead back. Now it's back to the AI.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have this card gets revealed and a new token comes out. And there's no central bead on the breath, so I will grab one from the pool. All right, I'm going to do this arrow here. Grab one from the pool, and that is the AI's turn. So now, and I cannot manipulate anything on this side because this just got revealed. So I will do, oh gosh, let's do this one here. And yes, that will be my turn here. Then I will flip this over here. Oh, good gravy. So now this is open here. And another token comes out. That looks like the inner workings of the nervous system. Okay, back to the mind.
I think that was the mind. You haven't taken your turn.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so then I just did this. Thank you. And I will do here. Okay, please. Oh, okay. So
out.
now that did work out. So this is actually going to become a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
This is here, we lose time. However, it did not take from the center because I had one already, a bead already over there. So that's actually good because now on my turn, I could do this and my thought is now released. And
or
now
you could choose the other one as well. So
oh, I could choose this one?
No, the bottom center, because it's got a token. So you don't have to release a thought that
I could do it
the marker
here.
came from. Yeah, you could do any of the ones that have a token you can release. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, that's good. I'm glad you're here, AJ, to walk through that because I might have misplayed that when I was playing it by myself. So there we go.
It doesn't really matter. It could be either way.
Okay.
That will cause time to pass as well.
So when a thought gets released, it does pass time. Mm-hmm. So it's like successful. However, now if this area of the grid comes out with the mind, nothing happens.
Yep.
Okay.
You're safe.
Okay. So that's the ultimate goal, is to try to get all of these to be not like this, but more like this.
Exactly.
Okay. So that was my turn. So now it is the AI's turn. We'll do this here. Oh, good grief. Of course. More distractions. More time has passed. And yeah, and then it's just back to me. What shall I do now? Okay, so I feel like this one I cannot be.
Right, that's off limits.
That is off limits. This one has not been. This is the dilemma that I always run into when I was playing this game. So it's like, do I activate this in hopes that nothing's going to happen, or do I move this away, the bead away? I feel like this is one step ahead, so I feel like this is going to become a distraction for me. So I am actually going to do this and move the bead. Move the bead back. It is,
and there's no real wrong way to play that. I mean, that's a totally valid strategy.
Okay.
It's just whether you want to play it offensively or defensively, really.
Yeah.
More an offensive game would be more trying to get the thoughts released so that the mind can't do anything, and a defensive game would be more, but you can have successful games either way.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. The push-pull is real, says Gus. That is true. And, oh, look, it didn't matter anyway. So that went back. So now I lose time. Okay. But I feel like I could do this now. However, I feel like it could be coming through. And if this deck runs out, AJ, do we reshuffle or does the game end? What happens?
You just reshuffle.
Okay.
Rotating them while you do. You just reshuffle and keep doing that. The game will end when the timer deck is gone.
Okay.
So when you deplete that, the top card of the timer deck, then that's when.
So yeah, friends, if you are just joining, I am joined by AJ, the designer of this game called Nevermind the Distraction. It is a solo game about meditation, the art of meditation. So it is a basically tug of war, whack-a-mole kind of thing between you and the AI, which is considered as your mind, and you as the player are the watcher, trying to focus and clear your mind of distracting thoughts. So you can kind of be in this like Zen state. So I just pulled this one here. If anyone has any questions about this game, there is a link to the chat, link in the chat for the website. I will be talking about how you can currently play this online. There are some digital implementations of this game, as well as an upcoming Kickstarter that you can get yourself interested and on the list to be notified when the Kickstarter launches. Okay, back to the AI. Dagnabbit, I feel like my brain just knows. It just knows. Okay, so now because there's already a token there, AJ, I just flip it to a thought. It doesn't. The token does not move on to it as a distraction yet. Correct.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Gosh darn it. Okay. So now, and it's hard too because you try to metagame this and be like, well, this one just came out. What are the odds that it's actually going to come out? It could come out again. And because you're rotating the cards as you're shuffling them. So I could be like, well, it's not going to come out right now. However, I can't touch this card on this exact turn because it just got activated by the AI. So it's essentially every 2 cards it could be the same area.
Yep. And we talked a little bit about this offline, about the backstory behind the decisions. And that's a super intentional decision, which is to try to design a game that can't really be metagamed that easily.
Yes.
Because if you can overthink the game, you will, and it will pull you out of that flow state.
Yep.
So rotating the cards so that you can't sit there and start card counting and doing that kind of thing is in order to do that.
Yep.
Keep that metagaming from happening.
Yeah. Okay, so now I feel like I'm going to do this here. It might bite me in the end, but that's the way your brain works. Always a squirrel. And
wow.
I'm telling you, AJ, sometimes people think I rig games. I kid you not. You all saw, friends. I shuffled these cards. I
No,
you saw them
you
right there
on screen.
Oh, goodness me. They're instant replay. I mean, come on now. But yeah, that's the way, and it's definitely, you definitely feel the tension in this game too. You're just like, dagnabbit, but okay. All right, so now it's back here. I'm going to do this here. Come on now. There has to be some good in this for me. Okay.
There you go.
So there we go. That's kind of a safe spot because this already has been a released thought. So nothing happens with the don't get stressed, breathe, says James. I'm trying, James. I'm trying. Oh, good gravy. Good gravy. Okay, so that spot is safe. That spot is safe. And thank you, James. He has redeemed a hydrate for me. If anyone has a beverage, feel free. Cheers it up, friends.
That's a great idea.
Thank you for that hydrate, James. Yeah. Okay. No. Good gravy. Okay, here we go. So that was here for the AI. There's nothing happens on this card because it's already a released thought. So I'm going to take this here, center it on my breath. I might regret this later, but we'll see. Okay, so now here is the upper left, which now is active, and the breath gets taken onto this one. Okay. There hasn't been a lot happening on this one here, so I feel like something is going to do. On the card, what is the black dot where the token goes? Okay, so this one, AJ, do you want to explain what this dot means? Chris is asking.
Yeah, so when I mentioned earlier that there's later levels to the game, it gets a little bit more difficult as the game goes on. there's a couple of actions that refer to the token type at that location. So it'll say, compare the token type on the dot to the token that's at the card, and a certain thing will happen if they match.
Okay.
So this being level 1, that's not used at all, and you could just ignore it.
Okay. But that's good to know. So yeah, if people are looking through as I'm playing this game and going, okay, this seems a little bit basic. Yes, Chris says thank you, AJ.
Of course.
Yeah, if this seems a little bit basic, there are advanced modes that you can be playing this. So, but I
And I
just
should
wanted to
say,
go ahead.
kind of the intention was that the latest, or the last level, is the way the game is really kind of intended to be played.
Okay.
But it was really hard to learn. That learning curve was even worse.
Oh wow.
So it
Okay.
was broken up into levels just to kind of make that on ramp a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So this level will probably feel really easy,
Yeah.
and maybe even a little boring to some people, but it gets better.
Okay. That's good. That's good because I feel like after playing this a couple times, I feel like I can go advanced to the level 2. I mean, the first time when I played it at Dice Tower West, I ended up with like a Zen score, and I think you were like, wow, that's really great. But I realize now as I'm reading through the rules, I completely like missed like 4 steps in gameplay. So I was like, wow, I'm an expert. And my friend was looking over and he's like, how did you do that? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Did I beat the game? But no, it was actually, I just was playing it incorrectly. And that always happens when you're learning games, friends. There's always an asterisk whenever you learn a game. Okay, so this one got active. This one, okay, I'm going back to this. Come on now. Be in my favor. Hey, okay, so that was in my favor. Unfortunately, though, this is a new thought. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool image. New thoughts. So, new token gets drawn. And I will do that here. And there's no bead in the center breath, so it will go from the pool. Which I feel like could be a good thing when you have more beads to pull from. However, it could also be a not so good thing because it could cause more distractions.
Yep.
Could lead to more distractions. Okay.
But essentially, you need the bead in order to release the card anyway. So
Correct.
the idea is that they all come out at some point.
Correct. So the order of operations. So now I'm going to do this here. I'm going to counter it. And do this over here. Okay. Here we go. Hey, and of course it's a distraction. I mean, it's so pretty. You saw me say that, friends. You saw me say it. It is so pretty. Okay. So now this one's off limits. I'm going to flip this one here. Clear my mind of that thought. Oh, another safe spot. Okay, so that's safe. Very safe. So now I'm going to do this. No. Nope, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay. Then we'll see. Oh, okay. So now, AJ, what happens when something is already a distraction with a bead on it? What happens?
Just time keeps passing.
Okay.
At this level.
Yeah.
At the future levels, worse stuff happens, but.
Okay. So then I will do central. I will center my breath there from here. Okay. Then, okay. Again, here, which is great. Yeah. Time keeps on ticking into the future. Okay. So now this will be my turn. Because I just flipped this here for this card. Now it's my turn. I will release. Okay, and now the mind deck is out. Okay, friends, you're seeing this. I am shuffling and rotating these cards. I could not believe that. Oh, good gravy. Good gravy. Okay. So, I am about halfway through on the timer deck. Am I making good progress, AJ? I feel like I'm a little behind. You can be honest with me.
Um, yeah, I mean, a little only because those last three turns, a lot of time passed just focusing on that top center card.
Yeah.
So, but it's not really that you're doing anything wrong. That's just, the mind, the mind works against you sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
the
So
mind definitely works against me. Okay, so
strategically, you haven't done anything questionable.
okay, well that's good. Okay, so there we go. New mind. Oh, good gravy. Good gravy. Apparently it doesn't know anything over here. So this is just an empty void idea. Which is okay. Which is okay. I am fine with that. All right, I'm going to do this here. All right, and then we'll see. Ah, all right.
Wow.
It's just, I mean, it's so colorful. It's so colorful. I like colorful things. I mean, look at my shirt, friends. I have all the kind of colors on my shirt. So I am all about color here. Thanks, James. Thank you. Okay, so that goes here. So now, because it was the mind was trying to activate this space, I could still use over here, AJ, right? And center my breath.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, let's see what's going to happen here. Oh, okay. So that's fine because that side is protected. Very cool. So then, ba-ba-da-ba, bam. I've got 3
Yep.
out of the 8 released.
And time passes on that.
And time passes on that. That's right. I don't know if I passed time on the other one, but we'll just leave it. We'll have to make sure to clarify that. Every time you release a thought, time passes. Every time a thought becomes a distraction, time passes. Every time an AI does something with a distraction, time passes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was the AI. Now it's to myself. Well, that's the only thing I can do right now. And we'll do this. Oh, cool. Okay. So because it's protected, time does not pass.
Right.
It's only when it becomes initially a released thought that time passes. Okay. Okay. So cool. Now it's back to me centering my breath. Boom. All right. Then we'll go here. Oh, cool. It is protected. Very nice. Now I'm going to go here. Another release. Time passes. And we go here. Hey! Now I'm getting a good defense here, I think, AJ. Okay. Going here. Doing that. Ah! It doesn't want it to. It's like, no. You like colors. You like colorful things. So because it became a distraction, time passes.
Right.
Yeah. Because
So there's a sort of a fringe rule that doesn't happen often, but it does come up sometimes like this, where you only have one action you could possibly do.
Yes.
But the normal rules say you can't because it's the same card that the mind focused on that round.
Right.
If it's literally the only possibility for you, you can act on that card.
Okay. So this was a distraction. So because there's nothing else revealed as thoughts and there's no other central breath, I will do this here. See, I'm really glad we're walking through this too, AJ, because it helps clarify for everyone different parts in the game. Oh, and now we have a new thought. Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, now we got one of our last 2 tokens here. That is a thought bubble. We'll do this here because there's nothing from the center. And now it's back to me. I will do this here. And then we'll do this here. This one is blocked, or it's released, so it'll be blocked from the mind's distraction. I will do this here. I feel like it's got enough on the colors. It's got enough to do with colors here. Yep, of course. Now it's a distraction. Now we pass time. Oh, goodness. Yeah, making some good headway, says Gus. Yes. Okay, so it did an action on this card, so now I can move this for my breath.
Yep.
I'm getting pretty
And
close,
time passes
AJ.
again.
That's right. Time passes again. Now, this is here for the AI. This AI reveals here. Now, since there is no bead from the center to take, do I take from the pool then?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So that was the AI. Now it is my turn. I will do this. No, I cannot because
You
that
can't do
is
that one.
one that has just been activated. So I will do that. And here, oh cool, that one is released. Yes. It's feeling I'm feeling a good rhythm here, AJ. I'm feeling a good rhythm. However, now that I do this, now that I'm saying it out loud, I feel like the AI is like, no. Little do you know. Well, hey, there we go. Okay. So that one's okay. That one got released. So I will move this here as my turn. And then, a distraction. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Okay. We're getting close, though. We're getting close. So now, again, we're running into that situation, AJ, where this is the only card that's available for me to do an action on.
Well, no, you have your center
Oh,
action.
correct. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I will ignore this one because it just got activated. You are correct. So now that is my turn. Correct. Thank you for that.
And time on that.
Yeah. Oh, and the final one. It would behoove the mind to leave me with just some blank thoughts. So here we go. And the follow one here. So then, because that one here, I will use this as my action. And then one more time. Oh, it's a distraction. Of course it is. Of course it's a distraction. One last shuffle, one last quick shuffle. I only have 2 more time to go through, friends. But I'm getting close. I am getting close. Am I that much further in my relaxed state? Absolutely not. Because I am streaming right now. I am monitoring chat and I'm making sure I play this game all at once. So friends, if you have not been with me on this channel, whenever I play board games live on stream, I do terribly at them. So this is an MO. This is nothing against AJ's game because I think it's a fabulous
you're doing
game.
Great.
But like I said, friends, this is not how I do things here. Another hydrate from Quaid. Thank you, Quaid. Cheers, everybody. Okay, so now, because this one has become a distraction, this is the only card I can do anything with. So I will play this here. Then I will flip this over. It is blocked, or it is released, so I am okay on that. Very cool. I will... yes, I will center my breath. I will center it and hope beyond hope. Yeah, right? I'm standing on my head, James, just to make it even tougher. How many channel points is it for breathe? Thank you. Thank you, friends. Oh, gosh. And now this is a distraction. Still a distraction, I should say. So I lost time, and my last time... okay. But it's this corner, so I could still release my thought. And done.
That's the game, yep.
And that is the game. So friends, I released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 8 distractive thoughts. I call that a win.
Oh, for sure. You'll subtract the 1 distraction from that 7, so your final score is 6.
Yeah.
And anything above a 0 is a win. So yeah, that's a really good win.
That is awesome. So there we go. That was just level 1, friends, of this. 99 stressors minus chat being, and chat being 1. Exactly right. Okay, so friends, here is the website that you can go see if you are interested in learning more about this game, how you can get a copy, or if you just want to play it right now. there is this wonderful about the game, how to play, where AJ has some wonderful tutorial videos that brings you through just different stages. So right now, I just played through stage 1, right, AJ?
Right.
Yeah. And there are up to 5 different stages that you can play on this game. So there's tutorials on how to do it, as well as there are instructions for each of the gameplays through the prototype that he has given me, as well as on BGG. There are some rules explanations as well too. So if you are interested in playing it now, you have Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator, as well as a print and play, which I think is really cool. So what is included in the print and play, AJ?
Basically everything but the glass beads.
Okay.
So you could print all the cards. You could print off just the themed packs that you wanted. Everything from both series is available. So you could mix and match distraction packs from abstract that you like with the life series photography that you like.
Yeah.
You can make the files are there to print your own tokens if you want to, use decal paper and put them onto cardboard and then punch them out. So yeah, everything is there except for the little glass beads, which you can get at Michael's for like $1.50 for 100 of them. So
yeah, I love me some craft stores. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Gus says, awesome design, AJ. Really smooth and good decisions to make. I like the thought you put into each piece. It really shows. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
I agree to that. And friends, too, there is going to be a possible Kickstarter launch. What are your hopes for it? Let's say, AJ, there's like so much interest, which I feel like you got a lot from Dice Tower.
I did.
What would be the next steps, and as far as doing like a crowdfunding launch?
Just going through the setup for it, getting quotes from manufacturers and starting to do some marketing, like this, trying to get the word out there, get people interested in the game. And I think my plan right now is to do a Kickstarter launch in October, which is Mental Health Month. And that way we can sort of tie it into the mental health angle in October. And so that gives me a few months to, get my quotes in line and get sort of the project management end of this thing all put together and planned out, and then we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So yeah, friends, if you're interested, click here. It'll give you it'll send you, do you have the actual Kickstarter page launched yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. Probably within the next month or so.
Okay.
However, I'm thinking about possibly selling these at the prototype stage, just to kind of get it in more people's hands so that there's more interest for the Kickstarter. So it might be that it's actually available from like a web store or something of my own this summer while I'm ramping up for the Kickstarter.
Very cool. And if folks have questions, where's the best way to reach you? Via email?
Yeah, you can email me at I should say at aj@nevermindcardgame.com.
Okay.
You could also go to the website, which is nevermindcardgame.com, and there's a contact page where you can, if you don't want if you don't want to email me directly for whatever reason, you could fill out the form there. You could also reach out to me on Board Game Geek. There's a page for it on Board Game Geek and a forum. So you can ask questions in the forum if you're interested in, having those questions up for other people to learn from. That's great too. So really, whatever your preference is, website, email, whatever.
Yeah, that's really cool. So yes, this has been awesome. And see, like I said, 90 minutes or less, we'll get through this. And I know when we talked offline, you're like, but this is only like a 10-minute game. I'm like, hold on, wait for it, because there's just so much in here that I feel people need to know about. So yeah, this has been quite a lovely time. Thank you, AJ. Are there any last thoughts or comments that you want folks to know about the game, that you hope, like an intention behind the game. Anything you would like to add?
The only thing you had mentioned before, I think it was Mike, was it the guy at Dice Tower West that pulled you over to the table,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and that reminded me something that I want to mention. Orange Nebula, who is the designers for Vindication and Unsettled, were also a really big inspiration behind this game
Oh,
because I
cool.
listened to their podcast, and they've got a really fantastic podcast for design people that are in any form of design, just talking about how to make your designs mean something, how to dig deep and like put the meaning behind everything you do. And I know Mike because he's an Orange Nebula follower as well, so I met him on the Discord. um,
Nice.
but yeah, for anybody who's looking for inspiration into design type stuff, I highly recommend their podcast, the Outpost podcast by Orange Nebula. They were, I would say, just below the same level of inspiration that Headspace had for me in designing this game.
Very cool. Very
So
cool. Awesome. So once again, friends, here we go. Put in the link to the website if you are interested. Like I said, there are current Tabletopia implementations, Tabletop Simulator. You could get a free, you can get print and play on your own thing. Um, Also, AJ, has been such a pleasure to talk with you here live on stream, but also off stream too, friends. So if there are any questions, I am almost positive that he will be more than happy to answer them, because I feel like this game could go into a lot of people's hands. It's something that is kind of a fairly newer concept when it's like solo gaming and things like that. You think of like a solo RPG or some kind of like battling card game. So this has a little bit of a different feel to it. So um, I wish you the best of luck with
oh,
everything moving
thank
forward
you
with
so much
this.
for having me. This has
Yeah,
been fantastic. I love it.
awesome, awesome. And all right, friends, stay tuned. I'm going to sign off with AJ, but I will be right back before I send you all off on the raid train. So don't go anywhere, friends. I will be right back.
Bye, everyone.
Awesome, friends. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a lot going on this week, so please make sure you're giving me a follow down there at all of my socials and stuff. But this coming Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific time, I will be joined by Matthew Dunstan, designer Matthew Dunstan. We are going to be playing Living Forest together, and chit chatting. He's gonna be one of my regular streaming guests, so it'll be nice to see him coming back to the stream. Yes, remember to breathe, right? I'm gonna be like, I should have done that at the beginning. So yeah, that's gonna be Wednesday. Thursday, I'm gonna be on Book a Nerd stream, joined by L Firespray for some J Squared. We're gonna be doing some art, friends. We're gonna be painting some stuff. Um, Me and John are probably not as savvy at street. Well, no, I am not as savvy as John and Elle. Let me just put it like that. They're upper tier mini painters, and I'm down here at like the novelty. I mean, I think I did okay with these. I mean, you all saw me paint these on stream. So, I mean, I think I did okay with these uh characters. So that's gonna be on Thursday at I believe it's 10 a.m. Pacific time. But make sure you're following Book of Nerds and all that kind of stuff. Uh, yeah, Oh yeah, John, is it going to be since you're still here? Is it going to be at 10 a.m.? I think it is, but let me just do a shout out. if anyone can add to
I
that,
think it's
John, if it's going to be at 10 a.m. There he is, doing a little unboxing.
All right, so I think it's because this is so thin, and this is kind of thin too, that it kind of like reverberates. It like kind of vibrates, right? So if it's like a really sturdy box, maybe you don't get that. Is that what that is? That was a good one. Somebody clip that last one, please, if you can. If not, I'll go do it myself later. I just...
Yeah, so John is the box farts. See, that's a great clip though. So John, I think it's gonna be at 10 a.m. on Thursday. And then Saturday, friends, if you didn't see, I reached 400 followers on Twitch. Da 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 da. So to celebrate the 400 followers, I'm going to be doing a 4-hour marathon on Saturday, April 9th, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to have guests on stream. I'm going to have play-alongs that you can play. I'm going to have game giveaways that you all can enter into. How that's going to work, friends, is you have to be a follower of my Twitch channel, which if you're already interacting and watching right now, you are already qualified. But B, you have to send me a whisper on Twitch with the keywords 400 followers, okay? To be entered into the drawing of the giveaways, all right? So, step A, be a follower of my Twitch channel. Step B, send me a whisper with the keyword 400 followers. On Saturday, you can send it to me now, Quaid, because the winners will be announced on Saturday. You do not have to be present to win on Saturday. But if you want to enter the giveaways, you enter in Saturday will be the revealing of the winners. There's going to be 4 winners. 4 games I'm giving away. The games I am giving away are going to be the 3 games of Echoes, the audio mystery games from designer Matthew Dunstan, co-design Matthew Dunstan, as well as Roll for Adventure. So, if you are interested in any of those, enter now, Quaid. That is totally fine. Yes, friends, enter now with a whisper for the keywords 400 followers, all right? Winners will be drawn on Saturday, and you do not have to be present to win. But if you have sent me a whisper, James, I see you. I see you, my friend. If you are entered into the drawing, you don't have to be present to win. But if you send me a whisper and you are a winner, I will have your information right there in the whisper. So there we go, friends. Yes, you can enter, Gus. You can enter. That is totally fine. You are a follower of this channel. And so that's going to be Saturday, 3 p.m. Super looking forward to that. If you can hang out with me and play along, like I said, there's going to be special guests on stream, some familiar faces, some not so familiar faces to the channel. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yes, Wim, I see you here. Super looking forward to that, friends. So that's going to be this Saturday. But all in all, thank you so much for allowing me to reach this milestone, 400 followers. It's nothing to sneeze at. I appreciate each and every one of you. And like I said, without your support here in this community, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you enjoyed this little Mix It Up Mondays stream. If you are interested in the game Nevermind the Distraction, please go ahead and click on that website link to be notified when the Kickstarter launches. All that kind of stuff. The whispers are coming in. That's okay, Wim. That is okay. Thank you so much, Joe, for that. Hello to you, Wim. I hope you're having a happy Monday, my friend. No apologies needed for the work lurks, and no apologies needed just for the general lurks, because lurking is a thing here on Twitch. I do appreciate you saying hi, though. I do appreciate that a lot, because I always like to know who's hanging out. Thank you for the lurks. Gus says, Jess and I played one of the Echoes games over the weekend. It was so fun. What a cool experience. Yeah, Get those whispers in, people. That's right. Yeah, so I will be taking more things. If you are watching this on the VOD, friends, still send me a whisper because like I said, the drawing winners will be drawn on Saturday. Okay? You were making TikToks. I thought Ruel called them click clocks. Are you making TikToks or click clocks, John? Just kidding. You're doing really well though on those. I have watched yours a few or flip-flops. Yeah, that's true. Robocops. Yeah, there you go. What rhymes with TikTok? Pop tops? Yeah. Making TikToks. Yeah, there you go. So much fun. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad. I wish I could get into it, but there's just so, yeah. Oh, Quaid saw your clip clop. Funny stuff. There you go. We're just gonna call them anything but TikToks just because it's funnier. Yeah. James is like, I don't even TikTok, but I still watch him. And see, that's the glory, right, of this community, friends, that we can all just kind of gather around together. And yeah, it's just so cool that we can still just gather around and watch each other's content and stuff too. But I appreciate all of you here. Was he a bit hoarse? Oh my gosh. Bring on the puns from my lovely husband. Anyway, friends, yeah. So if you're interested in any of those drawings, make sure you send me a whisper. If you're watching the VOD, please still send me a whisper if you're interested in those drawings of those giveaways. But for now, who shall we head over on the raid train? I do want to diversify who I send out you all onto the raid train. And thank you to everybody for those followers and whatnots. Oh my gosh, wait. Raina is on early today. Raina is on early. Has she been on for a while though? She has been on for a while, but I feel like she will still be around. Raina's wonderful. Let's send you all over to Raina. She is a wonderful variety streamer. She does mostly video games and stuff, but she is a newbie to the board gaming world. So let's give her some love. Some love and support there, friends. Yeah, but thank you for everybody that hung out today. Thank you so much to AJ and his game design. Please check out Nevermind the Distraction if you are interested in learning more about this game. Nevermind the Distraction is a solo experience that I feel that you could get yourself into, especially trying to wrap your mind around solo gameplay and the art of meditation, right? Yeah. So anyways, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, friends. Hello, Time Roller. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for everybody. For the whispers, I do see them there in the chat. But enjoy Raina's stream. Stay safe. Enjoy your board games. Be kind to one another. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye, folks.